In this part of the discussion, we will be talking about minerals and how they are used for our society. And we will be also looking at the current state of our mining industry and also our major exports. Okay, so metals are rarely present in our natural environment in its purest form. They are usually mixed into minerals. So in order to get those metals, you need to harvest minerals. And those minerals are called ores. So the ore is the mineral from which the metal is conveniently and economically extracted. So for example, here, this is an image of bauxite, and bauxite is one of the minerals that you could harvest aluminum from. So aluminum is just one of the important metals that we use in society, and there are so much more. So as revealed in this infographic, how many minerals and metals does it take to make a light bulb? It takes a lot of items or like resources in order to make just one light bulb. So the glass itself, you need a lot of materials. You need silica, trona, lime, coal, and salt. Then for the metallic components or the electrical components of the light bulb, you need copper, nickel, iron, brass, aluminum, tungsten, manganese, all of those alloys in order to create your light bulb. Not to mention, you also have your gas mixture of nitrogen and argon. So if you look at this, it is already a lot of resources just to create one functioning standard light bulb, and we produce thousands of light bulbs in one day. So imagine how much resources are needed to be harvested from our earth just to make these light bulbs, and that's just the light bulbs. So humans have been very dependent on minerals and metals from our environment. Okay, so focusing on the Philippines and our mining industry. So this is the most recent report that I could get, the 2018 report. According to this, we have exported $4.26 billion worth of minerals in 2018. So we both export metallic and non-metallic minerals. Our major exports are copper, gold, and nickel, which go to either Japan, Australia, Canada, and China. Okay, so this is a quick summary of how many mines and quarries operate in our country. Then here you also have a map of those locations. Okay, so we have 48 metallic mines, 61 non-metallic mines, 5 processing plants or refineries, then more than 3,000 small independent quarries with permits. So this does not include the illegal mining activities, if there are any, of course, in the Philippines. Okay, so just focusing on the uses of our major exports here in the Philippines. So for example, nickel, it's used for alloys, which is useful for creating coatings, batteries, kitchenware, phones, and transportation. But for the Philippine settings, we are the second largest exporter of nickel in the world. And in 2018, we have produced 340,000 metric tons worth of nickel. Okay, and then next we have our copper. We have produced about 20.68 billion pesos worth in 2019. And you know what's copper for? It's excellent to use in electrical equipment and so forth. Gold is a precious metal because aside from using it in jewelry, coinage, it's also a very good component to use for electronics, also for medical equipment, because gold does not rust and it doesn't react, unlike the other metals. So it's also used in aerospace because whenever you use equipment in space, they will be definitely subjected in extreme conditions. So you need something that could withstand those conditions, and gold is one of the metals that should be used. So there, we have produced 36.8 tons in 2018. Chromite is an indisposable mineral because this is the only mineral ore we can get chromium. And chromium is the element we use to create stainless steel. So the stainless steel that we use in the kitchen appliances, for vehicles, for like body components, like artificial body components, everything is harvested from chromite. So as of 2012, we have produced 23,800 metric tons of chromium. Okay, so how do we process the mineral ores in order to get the metals? Okay, so for this infographic, we will be focusing on gold. Quotation marks, dirty gold. So this is how the world's commercial gold is processed today. Okay, so it's saying dirty gold because it takes also a lot of resources just to harvest. So for example, you need to get the gold from a specific mining location. So gold isn't usually present in nuggets or chunks. It's often found as dust. Basically, gold dust is embedded in rocks. So you need to harvest those rocks, okay, take them from a mining location and bring them into a refinery. When it arrives in a refinery, those rocks will be pulverized and then mixed into this toxic cyanide water sludge. So this toxic cyanide water sludge purpose is to separate the gold from the rocks and other materials. Okay, so here the gold will sink at the bottom because it's denser than most of the materials in the water. So the water, it will be drained, and what you have is like this sludge or slurry, toxic slurry of gold. So whatever is not going to be used will be redirected, hopefully in a very safe way. So either by building the dam or just being recycled to be used again for further refining. Okay, but the sludge that we have earlier, which contains your gold, will be placed inside a furnace. And within that furnace, the gold will melt, and then the melted gold is now poured into shapes, creating your gold bars. Now, the concern here is this area because you use toxic materials or toxic substances just to get the gold out of the rocks. So it's a responsibility of the mining companies to properly dispose of this toxic material. That's the danger of illegal mining companies, because sometimes they don't dispose it properly because no one is really checking. That's why there are some environmental concerns against illegal mining. Okay, next slide. If you are curious about like the whole process, there is a YouTube video that I have linked in our module, so you can watch this. It's just like a short 5-minute video which shows you how gold is harvested from a mining site all the way to the refinery and then creating a gold bar. So it's quite entertaining to see the whole process, as long as like it's legal and there's like proper safety guidelines. Okay, so some things that you have to remember are aspects of mineral ore deposits. First is that they are limited. Even though our world is big and we have been harvesting them ever since, there is only a specific amount that we could harvest. And all we can harvest is from the crust. We have never broken into the mantle, and that's way too dense. So all that we're working with right now is whatever we have in the crust, and what and that's limited. So gold, for example, Philippines used to be one of the major exporters of gold, and we have been exporting gold even during the Spanish colonization, but eventually we'll run out of gold because there's only a limited amount of that in our crust. Okay, next. Number two, the quantity of a given mineral resource in any one country is rarely known with accuracy. Okay, so we're not very sure of how all the minerals are distributed in our crust. We can create some estimates, but we can't be 100% sure how of where they will be located, especially per country. That's why, for example, in our country, we're not sure, we cannot be 100% sure of how much gold we have left, or if there are still some untapped gold mines that are just waiting to be found. Okay, number three, ore deposits are non-renewable. So what we have right now as of mineral ores, that's it. There will be no new supply. What we have in the crust is what we work with. So we can offset that disadvantage by just recycling the minerals that we have harvested before. So there are like some profit in that. So instead of just throwing the electronic components straight into the dumping sites, there are some people who actually harvest the rare metals within and remelt those and then sell them again for refining. And number four, of course, mining disturbs Earth's surface in many ways. So one good example of a disturbance made by mining or human activity is this Bingham Canyon, which is an open pit copper mine in Salt Lake, Utah. So this is 4 kilometers wide and almost 1 kilometer deep. So a very large excavation made in the name of harvesting copper. Another effect that mining has done is the illegal gold mines in the Amazon rainforest. Well, Peru is like a third world country, so their poverty is still high. So some people are forced to go into illegal gold mining in order to survive. And since they are not like monitored by the government, they would cut down the trees in an area just to clear the location and then harvest the gold from that. And since they are like an independent illegal mining company, they don't have like safety precautions, they mix the toxic with the water, so there. But as of I think 2018, the government of Peru have established stricter rules when it comes to illegal gold mining. So hopefully they're in the turn for the better. Okay, so even the Philippines is not innocent or we're not foreign to the idea of illegal gold mining. So in the Philippines, we have been like one of the highlights in terms of illegal gold mining internationally since 2015. There are several locations which still has illegal gold mining. There is underwater concerns about underwater gold mining, child labor, and so forth. So that's just some of the effects of mining that affects our Earth's surface. Inherently, mining isn't bad because, as you can see, it has led us to having this technological advancements. So there are ways in order to regulate them and to rehabilitate the land so that we have not completely damaged our surroundings or our environment. Just if the mining is a healthy and earth friendly manner. So if we can follow that guidelines, the environmental guidelines set by the government, mining is not inherently bad as long as we follow the guidelines. Okay, so that should end our discussion on minerals. Again, if you have questions, you can message me through Microsoft Teams or through course messages. Stay safe. Bye.